Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Aloha Friday. Got our Aloha shirt on today. So we're going to start off with this morning's with Michael for information and educational purposes only. This is Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been trending up. It did hit a low as 67,026 earlier, rebounded. So we added a little bit to Bitcoin. This is Ethereum. Ethereum, if you had the ETF before it was converted to a traditional ETF, you would have gotten some dividends from Ethereum. I think they were at like 30 cents or something, and now they're of the equivalent of $3. So that is a story. You would have gotten the same amount of that dividend as the amount of shares you had in the previous trust fund. It wasn't really an ETF until it was approved. So that is the story there. Let us go over to our word of the day. Word of the day is Naches, pride or gratification, especially at the achievement of one's children. Seeing his son perform well on the football field gave Joel a sense of Naches. So let us now go over to our S&P 500 heat map, see what is heating up over here. And we will refresh this, just make sure we're looking at the most reliable screen. And Microsoft is up. All the tech is bouncing now. Looks like Texas Instruments is up big time. Financials, healthcare, utilities, basic materials, even energy is green right now. So that is the story. Walmart is down a little bit. Google is down a little bit. So that is the story. We're going to head over to our screens. I'm going to just prepare the news, but this is the dollar index. It's pretty flat, trading pretty tightly. So that is the story with that. Let us go to gold. And gold is gapping up after the big gap down to its 50-day moving average. And we're going to move over to silver. Silver is up pretty flat for the day. Our copper index is trending up slightly. And let us go. We haven't looked at a while for ERO. Looks like we got a little gap up here. Tech. Got a big move in tech today, up 3.5%. FCX. It's a little slow in coming up here. I'm just going to pause for a second. This is Freeport-McMoRan. It's up slightly, and we'll look at Southern Copper. Is up slightly as well. We've had a pretty significant pullback in uranium. It's trying to bounce here a little bit. Our model here is we put on a January 250 covered call on one of them in one of the accounts here, as this one has pulled back quite a bit. So that is the story. Denison, let us go for a news right now. On to consumer. Boston Beer, quarterly EPS 439 versus 501. You would think that would pull back, but is actually bouncing. I think some people are hoping for a sale. So on to Boyd Gaming, Q2 EPS $1.58, above consensus at $1.49. It's bouncing up 3.93%. Carter's Q2 76 cents, beats consensus of 49 cents. It still falls 4%. Columbia Sportswear, quarter two EPS loss 20 cents versus estimate of 34 cents, is down 4%. This is Carter's. We did not change. Is down. Columbia Sportswear actually is down 1.54%, and it is in a definite downtrend. Let's see, it's near the bottom of the box. Had a double bottom base over here, broke out and then failed. So I'll just continue on. Comfort Systems. Comfort Systems, quarter two EPS $3.74 versus $3.14 estimate. Deckers, the shoe category. It gapped up, but it is pulling back towards the low of the day. It's up 7.4%. Fortune Brands, quarter two EPS $1.16, above consensus of $1.12. Only up 4 cents, and it is moving up 9.3% today. Mohawk, quarter two EPS $3 versus $2.75. Floor covering products company is up 20% on that news. Earnings are up 9%. Skechers, quarter two adjusted EPS 97 cents versus 95, and they're rising about 2%. And Texas Roadhouse, quarter two EPS $1.79 versus $1.64. They're gapping up on their low for the day, but still up 2.34%. On to energy, Baker Hughes, quarter two EPS 57 cents versus 49 cents. They're rocketing up to the pivot zone of a little over 5%. Edison International actually is quarter two EPS $1.23 versus $1.07, and they're moving into the pivot zone as well, up 3% for the day. On to financials, JP Morgan has begun releasing a generative AI product, telling its employees that its own version of ChatGPT is in the works. As according to an internal memo seen by the Financial Times. On to Alliance Bernstein. And our news has shifted. Here we go. Alliance Bernstein, 71 cents versus 60 cents. They tried to move into the pivot zone and pulled back. They're still up 1%. Cincinnati Financial was in the wrong location. Cincinnati Financial, adjusted EPS $1.29 versus 96 cents. Up, try to move up slightly, and it's pretty flat for the day. This is is this the right? No, this is not the right ticker. Here we go. That's looking a little better. Up 3.38% after a big sell-off in the morning. I'm not sure what happened there, but it has definitely bounced. And on to Digital Realty, quarter two AFFO a share, $1.65. Adjusted EBITDA is 727 million versus estimate 695.6, and this is selling off nearly 2% today. And this is on to the Hartford Financial Group, quarter two EPS 250 versus consensus of 224. It's up 6.24%. Lending Tree, to adjusted EPS 54 cents versus 46 cents. 48 and 11 cents was a pivot, and it is just continues higher. For a moment, it broke out into the profit zone and is pulling back a little bit as people take their profits. Principal Financial Group, quarter two EPS $1.50 versus consensus of $1.84, and that is diving 4.21%. And that is that group. On to healthcare. Centene, quarter two adjusted EPS $2.42 versus $2.07. They raised their full year 24 revenue view to 155 to 157 billion, and they are skyrocketing up 10%. Dexcom, pretty bad day for Dexcom. Quarter two adjusted EPS 43 cents versus estimate 39 cents, but their forward looking did not look too good, and it is down 40%. That is quite a haircut. Yeah, earnings were up 26%, 11% surprise, but the biggest surprise was what's ahead for the rest of the year. Tandem dropped in sympathy, Tandem Diabetes. They did try to fight back to get within that box shaded area. Nine Group, quarter two adjusted EPS $1.32 versus $1.30. This is operating nursing facilities in the long-term care kind of area. We talked about this when it was right around here. Fortunately, we didn't get into it, but it is just following the 10-day moving average and is moving up 3.8%. Health Peak Properties, quarter two FFO a share, 45 cents versus 44 cents. And it is moving up 4.91%. Insulet Group guides preliminary quarter two to 488 million versus 460.2. Initially dived on the Dexcom news, but bouncing off the 200-day is up close to 3% on the industrials and materials. My mother was happy to hear this. 3M moving up 20% today. $1.93 versus estimated $1.68. Eastman Chemical, actually, quarter two EPS 2.15 versus 2.01. That's moving up 3%. By the way, 3M is our stock of the day. Our ETF of the day is home builders, as they move up about 3%. And our IPO of the day is LOAR, as it gapped up and is pulling back to the low of its gap. It's moved pretty close to the profit zone, and it is pulling back right now. So we are on to Level Harris. Quarter two EPS 34 versus 318. Pulling back on that news, did fall to the 50-day. It's trying to bounce to get back to the 20-day. Norfolk Southern, quarter two EPS 325 versus 286. Got a gap up of 10% on that news. 10% and 220% increase in volume. That is pull back to the 50-day, and we've got a significant bounce there. So let us go on to Olin. Quarter two EBITDA 278.1 million versus 288. You would think it would be down, and it is down 6.68% on a decline of 45% in earnings. Veralto Corporation, quarter two EPS 85 cents versus 80 cents. Gaps up in the buy zone on 5.28% increase in the share price. And Weyerhaeuser, quarter two adjusted EPS 21 cents, in line with consensus and revenue 1.9 billion versus estimate of 1.94. And it is pulled back close to the 50-day, and it is bouncing up 3.4%. On to technology, media, and telecom. Appfolio, quarter two EPS $1.12 versus consensus of 96. Initially moved up, and then it really dived. Earnings were up 387%. Maybe consensus revenue 197.4 versus 190.57. People were looking for a little bit more. Crucera, Q2 EPS 9 cents versus estimate 1 cent. Big gap up 46.66%. Online education learning platform. Some of these have been trending higher. Learning platform certifications and degrees. Earnings are up about 1,000%. So that would move stock, definitely. And it did. VeriSign, Q2 EPS $2.01 versus $1.93 estimate on revenues of 387.1 million. Stock looks like it's trying to break out of a bottoming base. Bottomed over here. I would say when it got above the 20-day moving average, you could nibble on that. Did pull back to the 50-day, but it is now moving on up. Provides domain name registry services and internet security. So we can go over here to what's up 10%. I believe most of them we have already covered. We did not cover AudioEye, I believe. AudioEye provides digital accessibility technology solutions through their Ally platform. And look at that big move, up 37%. 700% increase in earnings. Huge volume. Volume's up 500%. Aventur had a nice move earlier in the week, and look at that gap up. Even though the earnings were down 14%, stock is moving up 11.66%. And then we have 9 items here. Columbia Banking System surges on earnings. They're down 11%, up 10.29% on the stock price today. And Norfolk Southern, we looked at earlier. So this is Charter Communications, up 16%, a 516% increase in volume. Earnings were up 5%. International Group, International Game Technology actually is gapping up, and it's near the high of its gap, up 17%. And our final one is Liberty Broadband. I guess they're moving on up with that information with Charter Communications. They're up 16% on 246% increase in volume. And now we have a little commercial announcement. If you're concerned at all about a soft or hard landing, this might be a place you want to move your money. It moves up with the market, moves up with the market, but does not move down with the market as this index average does. Beats index investing by 5% per year. Right now there's 25 to 45% bonuses. If you'd like to learn more, please reach out to me. And let us continue. We're going to take a look what we're doing. We made some changes, added. We got a call coming in. We're going to pause our meeting. Hello, so we are back. This is one of our stocks. Got a nice bounce over here. We did add the 180, 185 options on this one. I believe it was for the 16th of August. So that's, we added there. We're just going to kind of show where we added. We added BitX, gapped up today, up 8.9%. MRX, we added this earlier this morning when it was a little bit lower. Bow is another one that we've added a little bit to. So those are two that we're kind of profiling at the moment. in the housing industry. We did put Dreamfinders Homes. Unfortunately, it has pulled back where we added it on, but I think this is going to continue to move up. We did kind of tried out nano-nuclear energy. And let's see, trying to get into BRCC again, but it'll have to pull back for the options that we're trying to do. APO, continue to ride along that average right there. We did add the Fastly options at 8. I believe we have a little over 30 of those options on. We do have a spread trade on Southern. Did pull back yesterday, of course, when we put it on, but it is bouncing back a little bit today. Continue to hold Appfolio did move up slightly today. Those are options. We did convert the IoT options into shares at 29. We did add a little bit to Way. Hold the Way back here and bounced off the 50-day moving average. We sold one more of the call options yesterday on front door. Now it's moved into the pivot area, so we're just going to hold that. ACHR got a nice bounce today. We'll see if it can clear the 200-day moving average. Yesterday, after the close, we had FTI. It's up 2.4%. We added another 100 shares of the triple hedge ETF in the biotech. It pulled back a little bit, still up 1.33% today. Brothers, we added $37 call option on Brothers. I believe we did 5 of those. Have a Mediterranean grill. Long-term holding is bouncing a little bit. We did have the $88 call option short on these to produce a little bit more income. And that's kind of what we're doing. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the sector funds. Financials up 1.47%. Energy is 0.41%. Oil prices actually moved down 2%. Communications where AT&T, Google, and Meta are bouncing a little bit. And let us go to IBB. Bouncing. XBI. Both biotech tried to get to the pivot and pulled back a little bit. SMH pulling back. Infrastructure move up. Solar holding steady. Consumer discretionary, this is where Tesla and Amazon are pulling back. Healthcare bouncing up a little bit. Real estate up a little bit. Utilities up 0.89%. This was our ETF of the day. Building materials up 1.45%. And mining and metals is bouncing. Bangyu, that would have been a nice one to put a option on. We'll just see when it hits bottom. And that's kind of a look around at our financials. Everybody has a great day. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you at Sunday for our weekend update. Everybody go out there and keep working on your goals and your activities, and we'll catch you the next time around.